Oh my god, hey! I am going to be reviewing all 8 of the new musical theatre shows from MTFest, which is a festival of new musical theatre writing curated by Paul Taylor Mills in conjunction with the Other Palace Theatre. Show number 2 was Nerds, which describes itself as a musical dot comedy, and that is a pun I have so much time for. Nerds is a show that had a trajectory for Broadway, and then for whatever reason the funding fell through, and plans for the Broadway production had to be scrapped at the last minute. But we did get to see a 45-minute version of the show at the Other Palace as part of MTFest. MTFest! I'm talking about Nerds! This show is so good. Like, oh my god, I'm still buzzing after seeing this show. Yep. Everything about this show was genius. I'm going to pick out a few specific genius things just because I want to talk about them, but the whole thing is great. So, it tells the story of Steve Jobs and Bill Gates and their respective rises to prominence in the later part of the 20th century in the technological world. The genius of this show is all in the writing of Steve Jobs' character. He was played incredibly by Kane Oliver Parry, who absolutely needs to stay with this show and this part. Get ready to get obsessed, people. He's this sort of douchey, hippie, rock god and ready to take over the world, basically. Bill Gates is this sort of nerdy character who's still trying to redeem his upbringing and trying to establish himself as more than just a nerd. He has this classic musical theatre I Want song. The whole show parodies the musical theatre genre really well. We get introduced to these 2 female love interests, played by Bronté, Barbé and Rebecca Locke, and I spent the first 20 minutes of the show after we met those going, please let there be a female epic love duet, please let there be a female epic love duet, and then BAM! They sing an epic female love duet about their respective loves for Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. The conceit of that song is who wrote this crazy code of love, and there's a moment where Bronté Barbé is just belting in binary. I did not know I needed a song where someone has to belt in binary. What more do you need? Because that's everything. It is everything. This is where we find out, massive nerd. I am a maths teacher. Gonna put that right out there. All of this cast was great. Oliver Ormson played Steve Wozniak and had the whole audience in stitches. Not even with spoken lines, just with whatever background nonsense he was getting up to. He was hysterically funny. It started to take on a little bit of a Hamilton vibe because you had these 2 leading male characters, both featured equally as heavily, rising to prominence and their stories intertwining with each other and sort of rivaling each other throughout. It had a very Hamilton Burr notion about it. I think that could even be played on a little bit more, because only halfway through was I thinking, is this meant to reference this? Is this loosely inspired by this idea? Or it could be completely unrelated and I'm just fishing. There was so many gags that were hysterically funny. The entire song where Steve Jobs sends an email to God questioning his place in the universe. You would expect it to be this funny with the pedigree of writers. If you look at the credits of Hal Goldberg and the other writing team behind it, they're all exceptionally talented American comedy writers. We saw an hour of it. I didn't want it to end. I was really sad that it was over. I just wanted to keep watching it. That's how you know something's good. I'm going to say maybe it should be a little bit clearer from the beginning that we are parodying history and not being entirely, I'm going to say, historically responsible, because you're sort of wondering as it goes through, is this actually the historical version of it? And then by the end, it's clear that it's all just sort of a fantasy, a fantastical parody reimagining of it. It culminates with Bill Gates and Steve Jobs having a lightsaber fight. I mean, come on. About halfway through, I was thinking, oh, this whole idea is sort of a bit epic rap battles of history. And I was thinking, I'm sure there is one on the internet, Bill Gates versus Steve Jobs. And then at the end of the show, they did an epic rap battle between the 2 of them. And I think that must have been the inspiration for this show. And that's the whole kind of tone of the show, is this sort of, this idea of taking these, taking these historical figures of the 20th century and reducing them to these American high school movie teen cliches, which works brilliantly. If the American technological race had been a teen movie with epic music, this is it. This show needs to happen in London, and I do think London is the right place for it. All of the Heathers fans, all of the Be More Chill fans, this is a musical for them. This is the next thing they're going to be obsessed with. They just don't know it yet. Yeah, the internet is ready for this musical. This is going to be so huge and so popular, and I'm really excited to be able to say that I saw it first. I really want to go and see it again. Thank you for watching my video reviewing this MTFest show. If you would like to see more videos of me reviewing shows, doing backstage vlogs and singing things, then subscribe to my channel. The link is down there somewhere. Tell your friends. Oh my god.